Aloha friends. Last March, I celebrated my 29th keto anniversary. Now, 29 years ago, I went to my family doctor, and at that visit, she told me I had something called PCOS. You might be familiar with that. Comment below if you also suffered with that. And she told me it was nothing I was doing wrong, it was just the cards I was dealt in life. Now, she also gave me something for acid reflux, and I was only 16. Acid reflux, she gave me something for depression because I was pretty depressed, and she told me to take Citracel for IBS. Now, I never took any of those drugs because I believe it was fate that I took my dog Tiva, who was a beautiful golden retriever. I took her to the vet, and she was losing patches of her hair. And the first question the vet asked me was, "What are you feeding her?" Now, this is a question the doctor never asked me. What's funny is now if a doctor asks what I eat, I say, none of your business. Don't worry about it. Or I'll say, I eat nothing from a package. I eat no sugar. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink any alcohol. And they're like, wow, you're super healthy. And I'm like, yeah. But if you'd say I'm keto, they're like, oh, you're going to die of a heart attack. Now, I'll say, in the 29 years of myself being keto, of the 20 years of coaching people, I went to college for nutrition and exercise physiology. I've seen all the mistakes in the past 20 years of working with people. Most people do way too much fat if their goal is weight loss. They get hung up on high ketones, which high ketones have never related to fat loss at all. The only reason I care if there's high ketones is if somebody has epilepsy, seizures, maybe in a situation with MS, Alzheimer's, dementia. But for fat loss, if you have high ketones, it usually just means that you ate a bunch of fat and you're not going to burn your own body fat for fuel. So with this said, I really wish I would have had support. I wish I would have had community when I was trying to lose weight, because it would have been much easier. There was, I tell people, when you try to cut out sugar out of your life, what happens? Your mom makes you your favorite pie, because people that love you are triggered by you changing your food habits. And a lot of times they try to get you to fall off the wagon. And that's not fair. So I want to surround you with community, surround you with support, surround you with love. And that's why I started these weight loss challenges. And we've been running them every month. We started last fall. We've done them in the past too. But people are having massive success. I'm talking losing so much weight, getting off medications, their A1C going from 11 to 5.3 within 3 months, and they're eating delicious food. A lot of people don't want to count macros, so I am going to give you your macros. And even if you don't want to count that, I'm going to give you meal plans that will fit into your macros so you can have success. But there's also very delicious, you can choose 3 different meal plans. One's super easy. If you don't like to cook, you will have success with that. And also you get weekly meetings with me so you can have success, ask all your questions about hormones and HRT and sleep and supplements. And we have so much fun on Sundays. I just love having those meetings. And we have a new app so you can have support, because some people are in Australia, some people are in Europe, and you can find people in your area and build a little community and message those people. So you can say, hey, where did you find this ingredient? Where did you find this ingredient? But you don't need any fancy ingredients. We keep it very simple for you. But I love the app. It has a daily check-in for you, so we can check in on you, make sure that you hit your protein goal. There's a check-in on your sleep, a check-in on your exercise, because it's not just what you put in your mouth. It's a whole, I mean, my whole business, my blog is called Maria Mind Body Health, because I do believe it starts with your mind. It's not just what you're putting in your mouth. You have to really focus on all different aspects of your life. So with that said, I'm going to interview one of my very favorite people who have had so much success, reversed, I believe, 4 autoimmune conditions, and she loves her challenge. So come join us.
You are just too sweet.
No, I'm serious. I appreciate you jumping on last minute. I was like, hey, we've never had Christine on. We need to talk to her about her I don't know, all of her success.
Well, welcome to life in retirement, because are we recording?
Yes, we are recording because I love to catch everything.
Okay. Well, life in retirement means that we don't fluff ourselves up. We are who we are authentically. And so
Hello.
I don't
On the
worry
challenge
about
meeting,
hair, makeup, beauty, bras, you name it. I don't worry about that
well,
stuff.
I recently bought my first makeup. I never wore makeup in my entire life, not a thing. And now I found some that was like, it's like a coconut. So it's not toxic. And
Right.
I'm like, this is really some good stuff, right? So,
Well, I may be tempted, but I spent a lot of years in the business world, and I realized in retirement, and I think this has been part of my health journey too, and the mental part of my health journey, that I am okay just as who I am. I don't need to
yeah.
put on the suit of armor that I put on for 25 years, the suit, the blazer, the heels, the makeup, the matching jewelry, the hair done just right. It was an image. It was never me. I spent 12 hours a day faking who I was, and I
Well,
don't anymore.
you'd fit in well in Hawaii because nobody dresses up. If you wear heels, you'd probably be laughed at a little bit. Makeup is not a thing. People wear their swimming suit to the grocery store. So there's no faking it here. The
Well,
billionaires wear
Florida is
the
like that
billionaires.
too, but the business world I lived in was not. So such
Yeah.
is life.
Yes. Well, you see me on the Sunday meetings. So with the challenge, I was telling everybody we have Sunday meetings with Craig and I where you get to ask your questions, but you see the real me. There is my hair is not done. There is no makeup. I'm like ready to, just veg out for the evening when I do those Sunday meetings.
And isn't it great to live that way?
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
you guys care. I don't think you care because you're there for the information, not the way I look.
Well, we're there for somebody who's authentic because that's what we're learning to be.
Well, that's good to know. But I think I first met you. Was it Melbourne, Florida?
It was in Melbourne, Florida, little gym on the beach side.
And this tiny woman came up to me. She brought these pair of pants that I swear 3 of her could have fit into these pair of pants. And she's like, these were my pants. And it was you, Christine. And I still have that picture on my phone. I should try to bring that up.
You're funny because I was far from a tiny woman at that point, in my opinion. Those
You
were
were
those were the last pair of pants I bought before I started following you. And those were a size 22 women's from Lane Bryant. And
What do you wear now?
right now, I wear an 8 now.
Yeah.
I wear an 8 now, but at that time, I believe I was in a size 20 and pretty proud of myself, a size 20 women's. But I was also in a year-long stall. I had been stuck for one whole year and was really at this, what am I going to do? Am I going to just accept myself the way I am and figure that this is it? Or can I dig down deeper somehow and figure out a way to get me back to who I think I want to be and I can be? And so I saw that you were going to be in Melbourne. It was a last minute thing. I signed up. I grabbed the big bag. I shoved the pants in them and I headed down the road to see you. And you changed my life that day.
That makes me so happy. So many people came that day. It was fantastic.
Oh, it was a mob. I remember waiting in line almost an hour to see you and have you sign my book and whip out my pants.
Oh, that just made my heart burst with joy. But so what did I tell you that worked? Because everybody wants to know what to do.
You know what you told me that worked after? We met obviously with the pants and we took a couple pictures and we hugged. And you talked afterwards. When everybody was signed and we'd all had our snacks, you spoke for a little bit and you spoke from the heart. You talked about how you'd grown up, your struggles with your weight. You talked about Craig losing his job. You talked about losing everything you had, losing your home, your cars, your baby, how you had been stripped bare of everything, but you were determined to come back. And those words lit a fire under me because you stood there in front of about 150 people and humbled yourself. Because I remember you saying, you know what? We aren't fancy people. We are just like you. And you held up your bag and you said, I bought this purse at Walmart. I don't need to go to a department store.
Yeah.
I mean, but you were a real person. You weren't this fancy person on Facebook. You weren't this fake person with glammed up photos. You were a real woman standing in front of me, answering questions from people about poop and telling us your own stories.
Well, that makes me so happy that I can just be myself and people, are okay with the real person. Because I do think there's so much fakeness on just everywhere, and
There is. But
it's just not fun to try to
no.
keep up with that.
Well, and you were a real person. I got to touch you and talk to you and listen to you. When we see things online, we don't know anymore, especially now. Is it AI? Is it
Right,
fake? Is it
right.
filtered? What does this person look like when we just don't see their head? Is the rest of them unhealthy and not where we want to be? You
Yeah.
were just authentic. And you hit me deep in a couple ways that day. You hit my heart.
Oh,
You talked about being an introvert and about traveling with Craig over to Europe the first time and being afraid to leave your hotel room. I mean, I
yep.
remember that's how much you struck
That's
me, and that
so
was
funny.
probably
I didn't leave because he was working. We were in Germany and he had to go to
yeah.
work, and I just stayed in that hotel room all day, every day. I was like,
You told
I'm too afraid to leave.
you told us you watched movies all day long, over and
Yep.
over, and you know
Christmas
what?
vacation.
But seriously, Maria, that was I think 2018, maybe 2019, and I still remember so clearly what a real and honest person you were. And I left there. You told me I could do it. And
Yeah.
I left there that day determined that
Mhm.
I could do this. And I went home and I bought the cleanse book and I started to cleanse. And I did it religiously. And 7 months later, I had actually dropped 4
Wow.
sizes in 7 months, and I met my goal weight.
Wow.
And when I came back from that meeting, I signed up for everything. Signed up for all your Facebook groups. I went on to Keto Adapted. I immersed myself in everything I could. I picked up a dairy-free cookbook that day when I was there from you as well to
Mhm.
stick with my new plan.
Yep.
And I did it. And I did it because I just kept remembering you and your cutoff shorts and your tank top and your Walmart purse being an everyday, but you were an everyday woman like me
Yep.
who achieved success. And if you could do it in spite of all the roadblocks that God threw
Mhm.
in your way, why couldn't I? The only roadblock was me.
Isn't that the best feeling though when you have that rejuvenation of like, I can do it?
Yes,
Because if you tell yourself you can't, you won't, right? You
correct,
need that push. That
correct. And
Yeah.
you gave me that push with your honesty, and with your authenticity. It made me realize that I could do this. And just having a person tell me they believed in me
Mhm.
made all the difference in the world too. Because when you change your lifestyle this dramatically, the people around you are not happy, because when you change their lifestyles, they
Yep.
have to change theirs too to accommodate you.
Right?
And I had a therapist tell me once, it's like a mobile over a baby's bed. You know how it hangs there silently, but if you
Yeah.
push one piece, the rest of them bounce. They
Right.
all move.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you move, you're
Yeah.
making all the other pieces around you move, and they don't like it, so they try to shove you back where you
Yep.
belong.
So
So having
before I interviewed you, I did a little intro video and I talked about that, how when you try to cut out sugar in your life, everybody's going to make you pie and all the desserts and really try to get you back to your old ways because
Mhm,
they are threatened when you change. They don't
mhm.
they don't want you to change, right? They love
Nope.
you the way you are. They're
Well,
threatened.
and your changing shows their failures.
Yeah.
When you become what they wish they could become, but they don't have the courage to do it, they want to push you back right into their little mold with them.
Well, that's
And it's
why
tough.
these challenges that we started, it's because you're going to have so many people trying to set you up for failure. This challenge is to surround you around people that will lift you up and pick you up when you do fall. Because guess what? Everybody falls. Everybody falls.
We
But
all fall.
you need that support to pick you back up. And I love how honest people are on our app and saying, you know what? I had a bad day yesterday. This is what I ate. And everybody just lifts them back up and they get right back on track.
I love the challenges, and I
Mhm.
love that you allow me to moderate and be part of the support team on them, because
Mhm.
I've been in maintenance now 7 years almost.
Mhm.
But I have to tell you, I still learn every day. I still
Oh,
track. I track every day. I watch my
wow.
mac. I track every single day. I watch my macros. I
Oh,
take care of myself, because you know what? It's still easy on bad days to make a
yeah,
mistake.
yeah.
I have some
It
back
is.
issues. When my back hurts, it's really easy for me to say, there's peanut butter in the cupboard. Let's get the tablespoon and go to it. You'll feel better.
Mhm.
So I still like to have that support, and the group, the people. are in a safe environment. I think the people in our challenge feel the way I felt the day I met you in Melbourne, Florida, that they're with a group of honest, authentic people who have struggled, who can still
Yeah.
struggle, who aren't afraid to admit that some days are hard. And it creates this really tight knit support that
Right.
pushes people to do better. We don't push them. They push themselves because
Right.
people believe that they can.
Well,
And when
some
they
people
do,
have been in the challenges we've started challenges a few years ago. Some people are brand new. Some people, like Elizabeth has been there forever. You have been there forever. And it's so nice how, the newbies, get support from the people that have been there a while. And I just love that.
absolutely. And I'm never afraid to get on days when I'm having a rough day and even
Yeah.
say to the group, I mean, you've seen some of my posts,
Yep.
sometimes it's tough.
Right.
Sometimes we overeat. Sometimes we don't exercise.
Right.
But we need to be able to say that out loud. Otherwise, we carry it around inside us and it pulls it down deeper. And the challenges, I mean, how can you go wrong? I mean, Craig has created these menu plans that are foolproof. They're
Yep.
foolproof.
They
And
are.
if you follow them, you will have success. And in the
Well, what I like,
meantime, good.
I was just saying, what I like about them too is I'm probably the pickiest eater out there. And those meal plans, if there's stuff you don't like on it, you can just find stuff that you do like, because there's so many options where,
Exactly.
I'm like a dog, I could eat the same thing, but I'm going to find the things that I love and rotate those. Right.
That's exactly how I eat. And people, variety is a lovely thing, but variety can sabotage you very quickly when you are trying to control emotional eating and reactive eating and retrain
Well,
your taste buds.
it's like when you go to a buffet, right? And you have a plate with all these different flavors. Your belly could be completely full, but you keep stimulating your brain with a different flavor and you move
Yep,
on. But if your plate is filled with the same flavor, once you're full, your brain is bored of that same flavor. You're going to
exactly.
stop.
Exactly. I have to tell you, even to this day, I probably eat about the same 10 foods over and over. I
Yeah.
basically, I do because, it's just really easy during the challenge, or excuse me, but during the cleanse, that's what I did to make it simple on myself. I did
Yep.
recipes on repeat instead of
Yep.
following the entire plan. It was just too much
Yep.
prep for my lifestyle. But
What
even
was one
now,
of your favorites?
what were some of my favorites in the cleanse?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, of course, the pudding, the
Yep.
snickerdoodle waffles. I
Yep.
loved the Rosti. The
Oh
Rosti was
yeah.
one of my favorites. There was a lemon chicken in there that I
Yes.
absolutely loved.
I remember the
There
picture.
was a stew. I think it was the sausage and chicken and tomato stew that was
Yep. I remember that one.
absolutely fabulous.
It's a little
Those were
spicy.
the Sloppy Joes.
Yeah, I love sloppy joes.
I love the Sloppy Joes. So I kept it simple during the day. I would take for lunch 6 ounces of cooked chicken breast
Yep.
and a little container of the Thousand Island dressing from the
Yep.
cleanse.
Yep.
And I would have that for my lunch every day. I would take either a part of a lemon pancake or
Yep.
a pudding for lunch or for dessert in my mid-afternoon snack. And we would rotate the dinners at night. And then if I needed a little bit of something later, I would either eat the pancake or the pudding, the opposite of the one. And I pretty much ate that every day.
That doesn't sound
And you
like
know what?
deprivation.
It was not at all. And honestly, I dropped 4 sizes in 7 months just by doing that because I ate.
Did you weigh yourself?
Rarely. I started weighing
Really?
myself weekly, but
Yeah.
weighing myself weekly became a mental game for me. It messed with my head.
Do
So
you
I
know how much
decided
you lost though? Because you shrunk so much.
I lost probably in that period. I probably lost about 50 pounds in that period.
Okay.
And then, so in about that 7-month
That's
period,
good.
I lost about 50 pounds. And then I went into maintenance and lost another 25 pounds. So
Well,
I hit my goal weight. And then I dropped down to a weight that I never imagined I could see again in my life, but it wasn't unhealthy. And the key for me was learning to put fat back in because had become, I don't want to say fat was the enemy, but I learned how to use that fat as a dial
that's why
and putting
we're
it,
so close. Sorry about that.
no,
Keep
go
going.
ahead,
Well, I think
putting it
that's
back
why
in was painful for me.
because it brought back, the
It
a
brought back
little bit
the
of
fear.
fear. Yeah,
For me, it was a fear that I could slide again.
right. And that's why I think that we're so close, is because when we were at our lowest, we reached out to each other saying, like,
Yes, we did.
we need to realize that strength is cool, right? And let's build some muscle together. Let's build some weight together, because we both
Yeah.
got too thin, right?
Oh, we got way too thin. And you and I, when I saw you last summer, we talked about that.
Yeah.
2.5, I guess it was 22. End of 22, my husband was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer, and it was very, very advanced when they found it. And his prognosis was not good at all. And he made a commitment that he was not going to die, and I made a commitment to support him. And
Yep.
he went through months of brutal, brutal, brutal treatment. 6.5 hours of treatment every 3 weeks for over 6 months. And they didn't expect him to live. And while he is not a keto person, during that time period, he said, you give me what I need to eat to survive this, what supplements I need to take, and I'm going to do it. And he
He
did.
was he looked so healthy last year when I saw it a few months ago.
He actually got released from oncology in February, 2.5 years early, because he advanced so quickly. But a lot of what I fed him and gave him supplement wise helped. But what happened to me during that period is I worked a very, very demanding full-time job. And I worked 60 hours a week, evenings and weekends. And I still kept the job because we needed the income, especially with the medical bill. Life happens. So I was working 60 hours a week and caring for him. And the only thing that I could control in that life was what I put in my mouth. That was the only thing I could control. And I look at pictures now, and I was gaunt. I was past thin. I was surviving, and I kept him alive, and I kept my job going, and I paid the bills, and we made it through. But the cortisol, I think what I did to my cortisol and my adrenals, and that power over what I could control, which was what went in my mouth, was immense.
Yeah.
So I've probably put on 3 to 5 pounds since that time period, and I'm okay with that. I went from a loose size 6 where I had to put pins in the back to keep them on, to a comfortable 8. I still don't worry about the scale much. I worry about how my clothes feel and how my body feels. The number doesn't matter. How I look,
Right.
how I feel physically, mentally, that's what counts.
That's great. I mean, not even just about weight. You reversed 4 autoimmune conditions?
Three autoimmune,
3.
and they were testing me for a fourth.
I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say reverse, but you put them into remission.
Yes, they are in remission. And I very rarely have any sort of reactions from them at all. I had very severe rheumatoid arthritis, to the point that had me on I took 26 pills a day. I can't even tell you how many different meds it was, but I had ballooned up to almost 300 pounds. And I was so swollen that all the blood vessels burst in my feet and my ankles, and they were purple and black. I needed pull bars to get off of the commode. I needed help to get up from chairs. I couldn't walk. I couldn't wear anything but flip-flops. And they just kept putting me on more meds and more meds. I also tested positive for fibromyalgia. My body was one huge ball of flame. Tested positive for Hashimoto's, so they were starting to treat for that. And then they were testing me for lupus at that point. And you know what? I woke up one day and I said, I am done with this. You know the rest of that word. I am getting sicker every single day. Every time I went to see the physician, we'd talk about my symptoms, and he'd say, well, it's reaction to this medicine. Let's give you this to offset that. And the next month I'd go back and he'd say, well, we're seeing symptoms of this. Let's add this to offset that. And long story short, I met a chiropractor at a business meeting, at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. She was new in town, and I sat next to her. We introduced ourselves and we talked a bit, and she said halfway through, please don't think I'm rude, but it's obvious that you are very, very sick. And I think I can help you. I'd be willing to treat you for free for a month if you'd be willing to come and see me. I thought chiropractic was woo-woo science. But I thought, what do I have to lose? And within 2 weeks, she treated me 3 times a week. Within 2 weeks, I was starting to feel decreased pain, especially in my back, my hips, my neck, my knees, all my joints. And at that point, she started talking to me about diet. And she started talking to me about carbohydrates and inflammation and sugars and where they came from. And then she started talking to me about proteins. And that's when I started my diet exploration, and I started to go down the rabbit hole. And
Wow.
I started playing around with keto, and
Yeah.
eventually I found my way to you.
Yeah.
And once I found my way to you, my body started to change dramatically, and my health did, to the point that she said to me, "You've graduated to a point that I don't think I can help you anymore. I think you actually need to move to someone who's a little bit more advanced than I am in some of these things, who can actually
That's
help you on your journey." But
so
that's what
great.
got me started. And once I found you, it all started to click, except for that year that I stalled because I got a little bit annoyed. I'd lost 70 pounds. And it was like, I'm so tired of doing this. I'm so tired of not being like everybody else. Come on. Is one
Yep.
French fry really going to hurt? Is a bite of this cake really going to hurt? And you know what? It did. It hurt me for an
Yep.
entire year. And
Yep.
that's why when I saw you with your authenticity and your true story, I thought, okay, cut your BS. You're kidding yourself here. Make a choice. Be fat and miserable and start taking
Yep.
drugs again, or do the
Yep.
work to reclaim yourself. And I chose
Yep.
me.
That is so fantastic. I mean, what do you think, if you had to pick one, what do you think the biggest mistake is that people make when they do like a ketogenic or low carb carnivore diet?
I think the biggest mistake is that they look at doing it the easy way. And
Mm.
I don't mean to say that in a disrespectful way, but the whole picture, when you really look at doing a clean, healthy, ketogenic, carnivore, or keto diet, can be very scary when you realize everything that you're going to modify in your diet. It can be
Mm.
overwhelming because food is our security, it's our
Yeah.
comfort, it's our enjoyment, it's our entertainment. So when you realize how much it has to change, it can be very
Mhm.
dramatic. And so I think that people, I did a post in the challenge today about this, about watching ingredients, because
I saw.
people still think, ooh, I can get these keto wraps, or oh, this
Yeah.
is keto bread, or,
Yep.
this has organic coconut sugar in it. So this is okay because it's organic. It won't affect me. So
Yeah.
I think that fear of having to give up everything and go really tight is difficult,
Mhm.
which is where I think the challenge is amazing, because those meal plans of
Yeah.
Craig's that you have helped with the recipes on, they make the difference, because you can have pancakes with bacon and eggs in that sheet pan breakfast. You
Yeah.
can have the pudding. Oh my gosh, the carnivore waffles with the allulose syrup over them. You're
Mhm.
eating real food. You're
Mhm.
not giving up anything,
Right.
and it's not difficult to make. But getting to that point, if you're not doing it in a challenge where the menu is given to you, the recipes are given to you, oh, I'm so sorry. Ever for you,
You're
it's
okay.
hard to do on your own. So it's easy to
Yeah.
choose a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, when you
What do you
talk
think
about,
about that?
I think that's yeah, that is a huge piece. I didn't really think about that. I always think about, they think that they need higher ketones and they need more fat to make their ketones higher, and um, how that doesn't matter. It just means that you're going to gain weight because you have so much fuel in your body at that point, you know, or
Exactly.
but they get told like, oh, you're not losing weight on this diet, add a stick of butter and eat more butter and eat more fat. And I don't know where the logic comes into play there. Or let's do a
The
fat
logic,
fast.
the logic comes in because it's still easier than giving up all of the things that you love so much. So if this influencer says you need more ketones, ooh, if that means I can still have this and get my ketones where they need to be, maybe I'll do that. Or if this one says eat a stick of butter every day, hoo, why in the world do I have to moderate my fat macro if I can have a stick of butter every day? I just,
I do think that.
and I do think that those influencers aren't necessarily choosing the best health options for everyone. And I think that not everyone searches deep enough to find the true health options.
I like that you said that because we design the meal plans so you get the most nutrients. There's no need for a multivitamin because you're eating the most nutrient dense foods. And that is not a
Yep.
stick of butter. That is not tallow. That is not all the fatty beef. So that's where I think that this challenge is not just about weight loss and muscle building. It's about getting the nutrients in so you can have beautiful hair, skin, and nails and a beautiful,
Oh my gosh.
energy. Yeah.
I can't agree with that enough. I grew up as the carbo queen. I
Mm.
loved carbohydrates, and I was always, always, always very, very thin. But I realize now in retrospect, I was very sick for a long time, probably starting in
Mm.
my teen years, and got worse into my 20s. And by the time I hit my mid 30s was when my body crashed and I got so sick,
Mm.
which is when I think perimenopause kicked in.
Oh,
But
yeah.
literally, I loved carbohydrates. I could be perfectly happy back in the day with a bowl of pasta with butter and Parmesan and a glass of wine. Or you think I'm kidding? I can remember in my 30s coming home and making a big bag of popcorn and throwing a pack of M&Ms in it and a Diet Pepsi, and that was dinner. And I was skinny, 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 fit, 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 but I was just destroying my body. I hated meat. I hated vegetables, wouldn't touch them, and
Me
only
too
ate
now.
the sweet, 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 sweet fruits. And look at me now. I eat between 140 and 160 grams of protein a day.
Wow.
I run my fat around 95 to 100 grams of fat, and I keep my carbs at 20 total or below.
How tall are
And
you?
I am 5'7".
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
say
5'8"
you're
when I
much taller
started,
than
but my back has shrunk me a little bit over time with
Oh,
some of this osteoporosis and stuff. But no, I'm 5'8", and I think my metabolism runs so hard. I am not a massive exerciser because of my back issues. I have to be careful. There's a little damage going on there. But I
right.
do your yoga and some additional strength yoga from a local instructor
Yeah.
at least 4 to 5 days a week. I exercise with bands. I get on my treadmill 2 or 3 days a week. I work out in my garden, weeding, bending, raking, planting a couple days a week. So I stay moving, but I
Yeah,
don't do
that's what
heavy duty
matters.
movement. But
That's what
my weight,
matters more.
but I eat the way I eat, and I still am holding my weight
Yeah.
because I think the metabolism with the protein just keeps on burning it and chewing it up, and the activity helps. This is not an effort at all for me.
I love that so much. Do you look at the food that you used to eat differently, or do you still like, ooh, that bowl of popcorn and
No,
M&Ms, I could totally go for that. I know that's how I
no.
am too. Like things that you used to have is like, yeah, that just doesn't even look appetizing anymore.
No, there's nothing I miss from eating that way that I can't have a version of now if I want to. But it
Right.
doesn't tempt me. I don't, my husband does not eat really well. And that's just his choice. That's his
Yep.
life, his choice. And he is far from keto. Although he will eat keto meals when I prepare them. But the rest of the time he eats his junk food. And I look at it and it doesn't bother me.
That's good.
I make him homemade peanut butter cookies every week. I figure I'd rather he have homemade than garbage from the store. And I allow
Yeah.
myself 2 tablespoons of peanut butter for the week. And I don't want his cookies. There are things I love. Oh my gosh, your pumpkin roll with cream cheese.
Those Grandma
That is the
Nancy's
sort of
pumpkin roll.
Grandma
Yeah.
Nancy's, that's the sort of holiday thing that I miss. However, I
Yeah.
have to tell you, that still tempts me. So I very
Mm,
rarely make that. And if I do, I cut it in half and give
portion.
half away to somebody and keep half
Yeah.
for me.
That's a
Blender
good
brownies,
plan.
cream cheese, icy, those are another problem. Maybe a half batch of, but I don't need them. So I very rarely make them because the question to me is, am I going to want to give up my really good food, like my
Right.
beef and my
Yeah.
eggs, in
Yeah.
order to have the macros from a brownie? No, I'd
Right.
rather eat 8 ounces of ground beef scrambled up with an egg and some bacon grease and some
Yeah.
seasoning instead of having a brownie. I
Well, the
just would
reason
rather
I
have
asked is I want people to know they can get there. Like if I
Oh,
was the
yeah.
pickiest eater and you were the pickiest eater, I mean, I have a recipe for popcorn. I do not have a recipe for M&Ms, but I have a recipe for Tootsie Rolls. I don't know if you could mix those with my protein popcorn, but I mean, you can get there with maybe some of these recipes to get
You
you
can.
to the point of wanting beef instead of the popcorn. That's why I keep making these recipes so people have options to get to point B, right? And your diet will
Yep.
always be evolving.
In my early days, I did that. And in my early days, I did. I used your keto treats because I can
Yeah.
remember you saying once upon a time somewhere, you made these recipes for a reason. If they
Yep.
kept us on track, if they
Yep.
helped us stay healthy, if they helped us reach our goals, that's what they were there for. But
Yep.
at some point, my mindset switched. And probably just the last maybe 3 years, my mindset switched that I felt so much better and so much more satisfied when I ate my proteins and my healthy fats than I did when I ate that treat, that the treat wasn't worth it to me. If I'm going to binge on a treat, it's going to be bacon,
It's
plain
so
old
funny
bacon.
how we eventually realize how food is making us feel. When you're in this fog, you don't even realize how awful you feel until you get to this point, and then even like the littlest thing, you notice, oh yeah, that wasn't for me.
Yep. And I will give you a perfect example. I indulged last night after dinner and I had a cup of decaf coffee with 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream in it. I gave up coffee a year ago and
Mhm.
just an occasional decaf, but I gave up all caffeine.
Yeah,
And liquid dairy, wet dairy, soft cheeses are deadly to me. And I just
yeah,
thought last night, this one little indulgence. I woke up at 3 a.m. My hands were so swollen. I was
yeah,
so hot and inflamed. My
yeah,
ring, I still can't get my rings off. I can't zip my
wow,
pants because that tablespoon of heavy cream
yeah,
flared me up just like that because your body is so used to not having it. Wasn't
right.
worth it.
That
Will I do it
very,
again?
yeah. Well, then you just remember and you mentally journal and all that. But back to the
And
challenge. I
you
don't
know,
want to. What's that?
yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Back to
Then
the
you.
challenge.
I just want to ask. I don't want to keep too much of your time, but back to the challenge. Why do you think people should invest in this? Because I don't even think of it as this huge investment, but why should they invest in it instead of having their Starbucks every single day? Right? Invest in the challenge. Why should they?
Well, if they really are committed to wanting to make a change, if they really want to do it, why would you not want to join a community for the cost of it, where you have all of your meals planned out for you, your macros are done for you, you have a support group to answer your questions and encourage you. You can't make a mistake. If you follow the meal plans, if you follow the program, if you ask the questions, if you chat with your fellow members every day, like so many of our challenge members do. I mean, that chat is just amazing. People
It's
share,
easy.
they share not only their food joys and sorrows, but things going on in their life because they
Yep.
start to realize that diet isn't just about the food you put in your mouth. It's about your emotional status. It's about stress. It's about sleep. It's about movement. It's about family. So many factors, and you can talk about all those. So why wouldn't you want to give yourself 30 days?
Mhm.
30 days with all the pieces right in front of you and a team to encourage you for that small cost. It's kind of like a do or die moment that if you really want to do this, if you really want to accomplish it, it's foolproof. It is foolproof.
Thank you for saying that. We really did try to put everything at your fingertips there, including, like you said, my yoga classes. There, you have
Yeah.
exercise plans for you. It's all like, and it's tailored to your abilities. There's strength training if you're ready for that and able to do that. So thank you so much for saying that. And you get wonderful community, not just me to support you. Christina's there every single day to support you on the app. It is a brand new app that we just put out there, but May will be we'll do a May challenge, and then we're going to take a little break for the summer. We'll do some mini challenges there. But we really hope that you join Christine and I on these challenges.
I would love to see all of you join us on those challenges because I have to tell you, I have made lifelong friends on these
Amen.
challenges.
Yep.
And we know you as your coaches and support team, and you get to know us too. And
Mhm.
truly, it creates a group unlike any I've ever been in where you can be honest and
Yeah.
sincere and be encouraged without ever being belittled.
Good. Yeah.
It's such an amazing place to be. So, yes, I would highly recommend it.
I would say there's, sometimes you go to these Facebook groups or forums that people can be mean. There is
Oh,
no meanness. I feel so comfortable saying anything on the app.
I agree. And I think you can tell by the way the people chat on the app that they all feel that way too, whether they've been in the challenge groups for 8 or 9 or 10 months or they're
Yep.
brand new. They very quickly, the new people get into the flow very quickly and understand that there's a level of trust and confidentiality among this where they
Yep.
can really be them and express their fears and their concerns and their worries and sometimes their shame about how they look and the choices they've made. And no one is going to judge or ever discuss it with another person, but they
Nope.
can get that out, and getting that out helps heal the part of you that needs to heal to make your body whole again.
Yep. Because we've all been there, right?
Oh, have we ever? And then some. The stories we could tell, right?
Yes. Well, Christine, I could talk to you forever,
I
but I
know.
want to thank you for your time. And anything else you want to leave people with?
No, I just want to, as always, thank you because Maria Emmerich, you saved my life. Before I started your program, and then I'll end, but before I started your program, my doctor sat me down and said to me, you are shortening your lifespan every time I see you. If you don't choose to do something different, you are not going to live a whole lot longer. And I had, previous to that, lost both my parents and my sister to cancer in 18 months. And it was really when she said that to me, and I just
Yeah.
found you, it was like, this is your time. Are you
Yeah.
going to break this generational trait,
Yeah.
or are you going to just take the easy road out? And I chose not to. So thank you for that, because I would never have done
I'm
it
sure they're
without you.
so proud of you. They're looking down and so proud.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, because it wasn't easy. This was not an easy journey, and it had some real moments to it. And you know that it happens to you too. Um, but isn't it worth it to come out the other side and be whole, hearty, and really yourself?
Right.
Isn't it an amazing feeling?
It is an amazing
And
feeling, and anything easy isn't really worth it, in my
no.
opinion.
And then the second thing that I will say, and then we're done. I can't tell you how many light bulbs I see like that go off in our challenge members
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
post and they say, "Oh my gosh, this
Mhm.
has changed my life." It
Yep.
does. So thank you for that. And thank you, Craig, too.
I will, and we'll post some testimonies throughout this because they're pretty awesome about A1C and all of the things, getting off
Oh my gosh.
medication.
And HRT, you are changing lives every day with the HRT knowledge, mine included.
I try. I
You
try.
do.
I still think it's very sad that only less than 5% of women are on HRT.
I do
Less
too.
than
And
5%
yet,
of peri and postmenopausal women are, which is very
well,
frustrating to me.
you know, the industry is strong, and it pushes its agenda. And we have to do the best we can by demonstrating it, explaining it, and showing it and living it.
You're
And you
right.
do that too. So think of it's another gift you continue to give. It's not about the food we put in our mouth, my friend.
Well, just speaking from experience myself, so
I get it. I get it. Thank you so much for taking time with me today.
thank you, Christine. I love you very much.
I love you right back.